I'm Batman. Hey there, this is your pal Pallie, and welcome back to Overrated. This is episode number 40. Woo! 40 episodes. That's quite a lot. It is not my 1 year anniversary of it yet. I know I skipped a couple weeks, and I'm doing every other week thing. My anniversary episode would be around beginning of December, so I'll be looking forward to that. I don't know, I'll do some sort of meta show, something or other. We'll see. But today's topic is talking about what you should be doing to prepare for Warlords of Draenor. So we are past the 6.0 point. We have it out. We are enjoying our new classes, right? Maybe? Buff Hunters? Okay, we did Buff Hunters. We're good. We're okay. We're okay. But now is the time to be thinking, what do I need to do to be ready for Warlords of Draenor? So there are many things that we're going to cover today. And the first of them is leveling. So, if you don't know, there are no longer achievements for Realm First level 100, or Realm First you are at max level. So, with that, there's actually somewhat of a shift going on here. The people who usually sort of do that Realm First stuff, and they figure out their methods and they keep it very secretive, they're sort of letting it out there. There's a couple people who have already released their guides on what their method is going to be to go from 90 to 100 in Warlords of Draenor. So, you benefit. You can take a look at those guides and you can get yourself going. Now, obviously, those are for people who want to be there as fast as humanly possible and just be like, boom, I am Realm First. Even though there is no achievement for it, they can't prove it. Well, I mean, they could prove it by doing, like, here's the server time when I logged in, here's my /play time, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sure there will be many people who keep it secretive too, and who find even better ways to do it, even faster ways. And I'm sure the competition will keep going. But for yourself, you can benefit from some of these leveling guides and go, yeah, hey, it's going to be faster for me to this point to go over here. It's going to be There's a lot of cool stuff in them. So I invite you to check out those leveling guides. I'm not going to point out anyone in particular, but they are out there. Take a look at the Twitter space, Facebook, whatever, the Googles. Go through the Googles. And you'll find something. But of course, I mean, that again is for people who are wanting to get there as quickly as possible and get through it. There is, of course, many people who don't want to do it as fast as possible, who want to enjoy the content as they go. And I must say, I'm one of the people who feels like I want to get through it really fast for quite a few reasons. Sort of get ahead and get myself ready for raids. But I sort of envy people who are just like, yeah, I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to go through the zones, and they're beautiful zones. Like, I really wish I was going to be frickin' Alliance, because Shadowmoon Valley, oh my god, beautiful zone. And especially, I hope now that people are in 6.0, they can realize some of those visual changes that they've made. It translates. It looks pretty. So, it's almost a shame that there are quite a few guides that are going to tell you you can do this in 5.5 hours. Because you are going to blaze through stuff and you're going to not be able to take it all in. Hopefully, what I usually do to compensate for that is I will take my main through as quickly as possible, start gearing up, start doing daily things, and then when it's time for my alt, I will take it a little slower and just get through it all. So, yeah. Leveling guides are great. If that's what you want to do, if you want to get through it very quickly. I know I will. My usual plan is I usually try to go to sleep, that previous night, so that'd be Wednesday this time, and then wake up for the servers coming up, or the servers switching over to the expansion, and beyond, be ready, and then, go through that day as as fast as I can, doing whatever I can. So, That'll be my usual plan. And if it's true that some of these guides can get me through there in, let's say, 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, then I'm done within one day. I'm done with by like mid-evening or midday. So that'd be pretty interesting. But whatevs. I always like to do that kind of stuff. So, because I really like, I don't know, I really like to get through all that. I don't know. I like to do that sort of server first race, even though I'm not one of the really hardcore server first race people. I like to be close to the first in guild or whatever. I don't know. So, take a look at leveling. And I would also say, talk about leveling with your guild, because there are some people who like to do it fast, slow. There are people who like to group up for dungeons. I know my guild itself is already like pre-forming groups to farm dungeons for the first little bit, because it's, I guess, good to be able to skip some of the first zones so that you can get ahead of the pack. I don't know, that someone's talking about that. So we're already sort of pre-setting up groups to do some dungeons. So, coordinate with your guild if they're going to do that kind of stuff. Or find yourself some buddies on Real ID and get at it. Get at it. Sort of the only personal leveling tip that I have, which may or may not be a good one, is I usually hear that, and I've done this twice now. I usually hear it's a good idea to go get a whole bunch of daily quests from the previous expansion. So in this case, it'd be Mists, and of course there's some daily quests out there, right? Quite a few daily quests to find, and fill your quest log with completed daily quests, so that you can just log in the instant it goes live and just like turn in a whole bunch. I know when I did this between Wrath and Kata, and actually when I did it Kata to Mop, that was a pretty good chunk. That was like, maybe a quarter to a half a level is what I recall. So it's a good thing, although if you do that, then your first 20 minutes or so in the expansion are in the old zones, and then when you start going into the new zones, you're probably going to be in the thick of the leveling pack, which can kind of suck sometimes. So I know I got caught with that in Cataclysm, because I handed in my quests, and then I went to Vashir, which was just dumb, because that zone, oh my god. Oh, that was a nightmare. But once I got out of sort of the first area in Vashir, it was fine. Like, people just sort of spread out a little bit, and it wasn't like, oh my god, there's 50 of us competing over one crab or some crap like that. But I'd like to say, I believe, I keep saying this, or I keep quoting this, and I'm pretty sure it is true. But I think Blizzard has technology now such that if a zone gets overloaded, they can split it off into another shard. And, if there's 3,000 people in the zone, they can put 1,500 over here, 1,500 over here, and then, you're not fighting over the same damn crab. I keep saying that, and I know it was true, like, of Star Wars The Old Republic. They had that technology. And I'm pretty sure when they did the whole cross-realm zone thing, they talked about being able to do the opposite and split a zone if there were too many people there. So, I don't know. If that's true, then maybe people's complaints about how your zones are going to be overloaded in the first few minutes, all that kind of stuff, maybe those are just like, whatever. But there's a lot of these guys sort of tell you, get ahead of the pack if you can, and there's many different ways to do that. So, anywho, leveling, I would say talk to your guildies, talk to the guides, see what's going on, and get ready to level, because that's the first thing that you do in the expansion. After that, I would talk about gearing guides, although we did back a few weeks ago, but probably the other important thing to sort of brush up on, and I know I'm going to, is brush up on garrisons, because it's such an important, it seems like such an important piece of Warlords at this point. And if you really are interested in it and really want to, get it going quickly, finding all the places, go take a look at some of the very good guides that are out there about garrisons. You sort of really want to have that thing set up right, know what buildings you're going to be doing, know what buildings maybe you're doing on your alts so you can supplement things, and sort of get yourself going on garrisons because, like I said, important piece. And there are plenty of guides out there. I'm not going to make one myself here, although I really wanted to. I really wanted to dig in further to garrisons, but just sort of ran out of time for other reasons that I'll talk about at the end. But garrisons, brush up on it. See what you want to do. Decide about your buildings. See where all the plans are and all the other stuff, the blueprints to build buildings, followers, all that kind of stuff. Brush up on it. Figure it out. And like I said, gearing, I did the gearing guide last patch, so I got you hooked up, or last overrated, I got you hooked up on the gearing. So you sort of know what to do, professions, challenge modes, this and that. So you sort of are ready for that. If not, go look back at my last episode. That'd be 39. So episode 39 was where we talked about gearing and what you should do. And so that's sort of that sort of covers what individuals should be doing. There's one last tip at the end of this, so hang tight. What I'm going to talk about next is a bit more guild, raid leader oriented. So now is the time. 6.0 is dropped. People are hanging out. People sort of refreshed maybe, come back, hanging out, checking out their new class. And now is the time to be talking about your roster even more. So, if you're a raiding guild, you are either in the circumstance where you are a 10-man recruiting up, or you're a 25-man cutting down. So now is the time to sort of figure out what you've got. And I mean, you probably have been doing this all along. In fact, I know Matt from the Edge podcast, one of my co-hosts, said that he cut 7 people from his roster last week. Just done. So he's already sort of made his decisions. Maybe you're not in that. Maybe you're not in that. Maybe you don't have the ability to make that decisions at this point. But now is the time to even more so take a look at how people are talking about their class or talking about the expansion. Are people really pumped? They're going, oh yeah, I can't wait until I get level 100 talent. This over here. And man, have you seen this questing zone? Have you seen this? If you got people who are chatting and talking about warlords and going, yeah, cool. If you've got people, and maybe people are also just sort of like, hey, I'm sick of this current expansion. I can't wait till the new stuff comes out. That's a good sign. That's, yes, people are burnt out. I myself I'm still not burnt out on Siege. I mean, especially now that I have my hunter changes and got buff hunters. I don't know. I'm still having fun in Siege, and I mean, Mythic has been interesting for how the fights some have been well tuned, some have not been so well tuned. Usually on the underside. Oh man, Garrosh. Some of them are just wow, Mythic, LOL. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, some of them are still hard. Garrosh Phase 4 killed our guild 9 or 10 times this week. We were just we don't know what to do about Malice. All the rest of this stuff has been face roll for us, so what's Malice? Or what's the Iron Star? I don't know. Let's run it into each other. It was a bad week for that. But we got it down. We're good. We're cool. And actually got someone new doing the kiting of the Iron Star in that Phase 4, so that was kind of neat to see. That was kind of cool. Someone stepped up and did it, and, all good. So, anywho, going back to what I was saying, time to evaluate rosters, see who's pumped, see who's pumped about their class individually or who may be thinking about switching, because now they have 6.0, they've played it for a couple weeks, and they can go, yeah, no, don't like mages now, rest in peace fire, now you gotta be frost. I don't know what mages are doing right now, but anywho, people might not be so excited about their class and thinking, is there any possibility I can change? And in fact, I mean, if you're a guild like mine, we've allowed a couple people to, even at this last minute, sort of switch and say, yeah, actually, I want to heal. Okay, now we got a bunch of healers. That's fine. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, now it's time. Now I want to be this class as opposed to this. Sure, if it's a range class. No. No, we've let people sort of say, make some changes and whatnot. And now is, again, a fine time to be doing it. If you're in the sort of the 95% of all raiding guilds out there, if you're in that top, X percent, it's not obviously apply to you, but you sort of want that stuff nailed down well in advance, and you probably have had it nailed down for 3 months. But anywho, for the rest of us, sort of, now's the time to talk about rosters and see what you got and see if people are excited about this and that. And again, you're not trying. There are no guarantees with respect to your roster. Someone could start to level in the expansion, and things like real life just comes up. I know that. And their plans get thrown out the window. They get a new job. They are now working at different hours, and they can't raid with you. They just hate the expansion for whatever reason. That happens. They hate how their classes turned out. They don't want to play another one. Some other game comes out that draws their... I don't know. There are a million things that can happen from now until the time the raids come out in Warlords. So your raid roster is not set in stone. Even you top 1% guild, your raid roster is not 100% set in stone. I'm sorry. But anywho, your raid roster should be solidifying at this point. It should be, it was I don't know, these are some weird hand gestures, but it was sort of like mushy, whiny stuff at this point. Now it should be like, well, we're sort of here. And then when you're actually raiding, it'll be like, yep, we are set. This is our roster. I don't know. It's late. I'm doing gestures. I don't know. This is the show. This is what I do. This is what I do. All right. Moving on. And speaking of guilds as well, this is also a great time as a guild to figure out guild policy changes. And what I mean by that is maybe you are going to take this opportunity to change your loot system. Cool. This is the perfect time to do it and say, this is how we're running it in Warlords. If you don't like it, oh well. Or if everyone's in agreement, cool, loot system is going to be this now. It can be minor things like who gets, sort of special rewards, like the mounts, from Garrosh. That's sort of a unique thing at the end of an expansion type dealio. But maybe there's a, like in, what was it? In Firelands, there was a mount that dropped off of a Lisserzor, and it was just like a completely random rare drop. Do you have a policy that decides who get that? For the most part, many guilds just do /roll. But maybe you want to use those mounts as a sort of reward for 100% attendance, or special service to the guild, or whatever. Who knows? That's the sort of thing that you can sort of set a policy now and go, all right, everyone, this is what we're doing. If there's a special kind of thing, that's what's going to happen. Or our loot system is this, or here's how we're tracking attendance, or we're changing our attendance policy to this, or we're going to require people to, post on the calendar. I don't know. This is the time to make those changes and to get people used to them. That's another key point. You can get them used to those types of things over the next few weeks. So, like, for example, I know one suggestion that came in to my guild recently was, hey, let's use the calendar. Let's use the calendar to have people, send out an invite every week and have people say accept, decline, tentative, whatever. They still might have to post on the forums if they know they're not going to be there. But at the very least, it gives, officers a quick, this is what we're looking like level-wise for the number of people we're going to have. I don't know. But if you were going to make that, I don't think we're making that change. But anywho, if you were going to make a change like that, now would be the time to go, hey guys, for next week's raid, can we have everyone pay attention to the calendar, take a look at the invite, click accept, whatever, get them in the habit of doing it. Woo, even better. Even better. So, again, general guild policy changes, now's the time. I mean, and it may not be to make your guild more, structured or whatever. You may go, hey, look, guys, we're going to take this tier easier. We're going to enjoy ourselves leveling. We're going to probably raid, a month into the expansion. We're going to start that first normal or heroic raid that long. We're taking a step back from what we are. We were, realm 3rd, 4th or something, and we're taking a step back, guys. So, if you want to find something more hardcore or whatever, go right ahead. And talk to people about those types of changes, because that can happen in many guilds. So guild policy changes, now's the time. And lastly, in terms of the guild stuff, now's also the time to be talking about strategies and preparing for the fights in Warlords of Draenor. Remember that High Maul is going to be the first raid out, and that's going to come out 2.5 weeks after the release of the expansion. So you really should be looking at High Maul guides and texts and this and that. I recommend get a raid guides for all of your stuff, and I've actually got you covered on High Maul. I have all 7 of the fights done on Heroic, and all 6 of the fights that got tested on Mythic, excepting Imperator was not, as far as I know, it was never tested on Beta. If I just missed something, or if it was like a only super special for the best guilds or something, someone told me that that's what they did. No confirmation as of such. But anywho, I got you covered on as many guides as I possibly could for High Maul. I'm still working on the Blackrock ones. I'll give you an update on that in a minute. But again, now's the time, as at least a raid leader and officer corps, you should at least be looking up the strategies and starting to prepare for those fights. I mean, one of those things that sort of consume your raid night and make it just work like clockwork is setting up things as far in advance as you possibly can. If you can, on, Kargoth, the first fight in High Maul, Kargoth. If you can go, all right, we know what tanks we're going to have, we know what healers we're going to have, and we are going to have, there are 5 people who get thrown into the crowd in that fight, and they have to deal with the ads up there. We're going to designate these 5 people. All right, let you know that that's your job ahead of time, and post it on the forums, or let them know in the raid, or even just, you don't even have to let people know in advance. You can just be like, all right, you, and you are the crowd team. Make sure you run in when he's doing this spinny rope thing. Get yourselves up there and go do it. Cool. Done. Decision made. You move on. Lots of gestures. Many of them probably too quick to be caught by the camera. Anywho, now is a great time to prepare yourself. There's going to be plenty of time after you level to sort of see who's there and, more specifically assign people. But if you know sort of most of your core is going to be there, you can say, look, you're the kiter on this fight. You're going to be dealing with this. You go here, get ready to do your job, etc., etc. So, yep, now is the time. Now's the time. And I hear getter raid guides are pretty good. Pretty good. Yes. Shameless plug. Whatevs. So, lastly, last piece of advice for preparing for Warlords of Draenor. If you haven't done it already, set up those dang crafting professions. And it's probably going to hurt your pocketbook. I don't know why pocketbook is such an old word. I was talking to my wife about that recently. Such an old word. My pocketbook. I don't know. Anywho, crafting professions. Get ready and sort of figure out what you're doing. Just like the garrisons, you need to figure out what buildings you're going to have. Again, go back to those crafting professions and go, well, I know I want to get that piece of gear from blacksmithing or from this, so I'm not going to drop that, but I can drop this other thing so I can have, a miner, and as I'm leveling through the zones, I can, be leveling up mining at the same time. I don't know, but there is a run on sort of the kits to level up professions at this point. They're really freaking expensive. really expensive. So good luck with that if you haven't done it already. I warned you in my patch 6.0 guide to do that. And of course, if you're watching these and are awesome, like I know all of you are in this audience, you probably did it already. I failed to take my own advice. Actually, I'm pretty decided on what I'm going to keep what I've got on my hunter for now. It's my paladin, I don't really know what I'm doing with. I'm going to get him transferred over to my current server and figure out what I'm doing, because I don't know. I want to level him after the hunter, so I don't know. I may just, since it's so expensive, I may just leave it and decide later. Anywho, that's your last warning on professions. Get them set up. I'll be mean next time. Yeah, that's right. That's what's going on. Anywho, that's about it for talking about the Warlord's preparation. I hope you're enjoying 6.0. I know in general I gave some feedback last time, but in general, or actually I did on the podcast, I believe. In general, I'm sort of enjoying, Hunter, learning marksmanship, which is a spec that I hadn't learned before. It seems quite changed from what it was, but interesting, new mechanics to me. The whole sniper training, standing still, like even I started realizing that to play a marksmanship hunter, you sort of really have to live on the edge in some cases, because you have to be that caster type and make sure that you stand still 3 seconds for sniper training, and then you can move for 3 seconds, and then you need to stand still, and sort of pre-planning that kind of stuff. And like we were doing Garrosh Mythic mode, which smacked us around quite a bit this week. LOL Malice. But, sort of doing his annihilates in that first transition phase, I was like, okay, I need to not be around other people because it's more likely that he's going to target them, but I need to not be way out here where no one's going to be able to heal me, or I'm not in the nice healing circles. So let me do this. Alright, I moved. I gotta stand still for 3 seconds. Oh crap, he's attacking in my area. 2, 1, move. Oh my god, that was really close. Just stuff like that. And you sort of, and like I am really used to, as a hunter, just jumping around all over the damn place. And you can't do that. You can't do that with marksmanship. You need to stand still. You need to be that big glass cannon thing and just stand still as much as you can, of course, as much as you can. And more, it's not necessarily standing still. It's pre-planning your movement so that okay, I'm going to move for these 3 seconds, and then I'll get my buff back, and then we'll be good. Just that kind of stuff. Just not needlessly hopping around like I often do. So, if I do play marksmanship in the expansion, you guys are going to get some really steady shots of raid guides. Because I'm not going to be moving. I may move my camera around to show different things, but I ain't moving my character. No. Anywho. Yeah. Just fun stuff there. So yeah, 6.0 has been good so far. Really liking how things turned out for the class so far. Glad that they buffed hunters so we weren't so terrible. And yeah, I have not yet healed on my paladin. I'm probably going to heal next week, so I can probably give more of a report on that. I did like a dungeon type thing, just set up my bars, set up my spells. Now that we've lost a few spells, it feels really weird to cast Light of Dawn, although I really like the explosion type graphic for it. So kudos there, I suppose. But it is really weird to cast an Eternal Flame or cast a Word of Glory or, all those other types of things. And it's really an interesting... Well, right now we've got like a crap ton of spirits, so it's really weird. You can't run yourself out of mana on most healing classes. So it's kind of like, don't get used to it because it's going to be different once you get to level 100. But yeah, anywho, gonna enjoy doing my paladin, and I promised a few episodes ago that I would talk about paladins a bit more. Probably will do that next episode, because next episode will be right around the time of BlizzCon, and I may try to go back to once a week here because I sort of got a lot that I want to cover. But anyway, we're getting to the metas discussion, which is fine because we're sort of at the end of this episode. So we talked Warlords, getting ready for Warlords, all that other kind of jazz. Just really briefly on the raid guides, I have 2 more that I need to do on heroic mode for Blackrock Foundry. So that's Blackhand and the Furnace one. Blast Furnace? I don't remember. I don't like that fight, which is probably why I've been delaying doing it, because I didn't really get a great feel for it, and it seems really here's a bunch of ads. People really complained about spoils. I kind of liked spoils of Pandaria in Siege, but a lot of people didn't. They were like, oh, it's glorified trash. But I don't know, you really sort of got the idea of spoils at first. The Furnace fight is just okay, you gotta break the guy out, and you get this, and you need to take bombs and put them over here. In the meantime, there's these bellow operators, and I don't know, it's just really too much going on in that fight, I feel like. Even on heroic mode. So, I don't know. 2 more fights to do on heroic mode for Blackrock Foundry. Then I can do the mythic ones, and the mythic ones really take me a whole lot less time, because as you may have noticed if you watch my guides, in mythic I just say, hey, for most of the mechanics that have translated over, go refer to the heroic guide. I will obviously point out what's different for mythic, and if any heroic mechanic has changed for mythic or hurts way more or is less of a concern, whatever, I'll point that out in the mythic guide. But for the most part, a mythic guide is, here's the changes, here's some basic strategy to deal with things, and off you go. And that's certainly for a beta guide to mythic mode. That's about all I can provide, given how much testing I got in and such. Which I tested pretty much every fight that they baited. Sometimes twice, sometimes twice in the fight that they did twice. But when all those fights are live and I'm making my new guides for the actual tiers, I will probably go into way more detail on mythic modes, because I'll have a lot better sense of how to actually down the fight and what are the more important points to worry about. So, just don't think that I'm going to sort of write off mythic and not going to give you all the info. I'm giving you all the info I have with respect to beta. When it comes to live, I'll give you that too, but I don't have much with respect to how exactly to down a fight. The fight that I got closest on downing in mythic was I think we wiped on purpose. Yeah, we wiped on purpose to Kargoth heroic or mythic, because there really weren't that many changes. It was sort of the cat coming out, and we were like, yep, all right, we know the cat comes out. We know this other stuff's happening. There's a lot of buggy things going on with the crowd, but whatevs. We know what this fight is, and that's when I had a really good sense of what to do to down that fight. So it was probably more of my detailed ones. Of course, I'll look back and go, no, that guide was 3 minutes. What the hell are you talking about? I don't know. Anywho, just in general, sort of want to give you an update for myself. I've been pretty busy with house stuff, but I do want to crank out those 2 heroic guides, the 6 mythic, and then I want to take some of my own advice that I've just given to you and go back and look at leveling guides. I want to, benefit from me having beta and actually go try out some of those leveling guides and getting myself there, just to see how quick I can do it, because I'm really excited about doing that and whatnot. And in fact, the day of the expansion is actually one of my son's birthdays, so it's not like I'm going to be able to not do birthday things for him that evening and afternoon when he's getting home from school and stuff. So it would be great to be done with leveling by, midday. I am taking off work and all that other stuff to do so. But yeah, I'm gonna not have as much time as I would like to on a day, but of course it's my son's birthday. I've got to, obviously we're gonna pay more attention to that. So yeah, we're getting really excited about the expansion. Really excited as well to hear from the guild about people making plans for putting together groups and talking about leveling and talking about garrisons, all this sort of stuff that I brought up. A lot of people are really asking me questions about this and that, and I'm like, yeah, sweet, all right, people are excited about the expansion, finally. And they weren't before, and people weren't, what I've seen in my guild, and maybe this has been the same for your experience, but what I've seen is people knew the expansion date, whenever they revealed that. I think it was, maybe a month or two plus ago, and they were really excited for the date. Then they were like, yep, but we're still in Siege of Orgrimmar, and there really wasn't a lot of talk of, oh yeah, let's talk about leveling, let's talk about, Chablis, what have you seen in this? And, whatever, actually call me Chab or CB, whatever. What have you seen about this? Like, there weren't a lot of people talking about this stuff, but now that 6.0 is out, and, we down Mythic Garrosh and stuff, and are farming the mounts and stuff, people are, like, really going whole hog on stuff, so much so that I feel less prepared than the people in my guild, because I'm like, oh wow, yeah, someone posted this leveling guide, someone did this, oh, here's this thing from this guy. I'm like, oh, sweet, all right, and we're all excited now, sweet, all right, yay, expansion. So, good stuff, yeah, I'm liking that enthusiasm, and I echo it. All right, so time to wrap up this Overrated. This has been episode number 40. As I said, my anniversary date for Overrated is beginning of December. Maybe I'll plan that'll be sort of the beginning of tiers. Beginning of the Heimall raid tier, I think is December 4th, maybe. I want to say maybe that's Mythic. I think that's the day of Mythic raiding. Anywho, I'll just try to figure out something special for that 1 year anniversary. I know my episodes are going to be, it's not going to be the 50-second episode, just because I've skipped some here and there. Took a little break, and then I was doing every other week. I think I'll probably crank that back up to every week, and so these episodes aren't like the 30-40 minutes long that they have been. But anywho, whatevs. We'll crank that back up and be providing more content to you guys, because that's what I really like. I really like putting this content out and getting that stuff to you guys. I would have loved to have gone to BlizzCon to meet people. People on the podcast are actually more upset that they're not going to see me at BlizzCon. I'm like, am I that guy yet? I'm that guy who people want to meet somewhere? Like, whoa, when did that happen? And not just Priestley. Priestley, I would like to meet you. Yes, you know who you are. But someone was like, oh, you should put a donation button to get you to go to BlizzCon. I'm like, no, I'm not that guy. I don't know. Anywho, that was weird. But what I really like to see the number of hits on videos and this episodes, and I would like to grow the audience. Not necessarily, get stuff from the audience. I just like to grow the audience and be bigger and more fantastic and such. So, all I can do really, and sorry, I know this is like going way beyond limits, but all I really like to do is, in order to do that, is improve myself, improve the episodes, improve the raid guides, improve content, and keep coming out with it on a regular basis. And it should grow from there as much as I possibly can promote it and do things, and and promote Tank Spot and Catalyst Gaming Media and Blizz Pro and the Edge Podcast, all that kind of stuff. As much as I can get out there, I will do. So, anywho, Overrated number 40 is done. It's in the books. Thanks all for watching. Subscribe and all that jazz. Have a good one.